Well, welcome back. The bar to be considered wealthy just got higher. Americans say you need nearly $2.5 million to be considered rich, according to a survey by Charles Schwab. Joining us right now, Ramsey Solutions financial expert and author of Retire Inspired, Chris Hogan. Chris, good to see you.
Good to see you, Maria.
So people used to think a millionaire was wealthy. This is more than 2 times that. What's your take?
Well, I think Americans are factoring in something that I teach people not to have, and that's debt. I think when they're starting to look at the wealth, they're counting debt service, how much they need to pay the credit card payments, pay car payments, and pay their mortgages. However, I think there's a different view of wealth if you're out of debt. I mean, if you have $750,000 put away in your 401k and you don't owe anybody anything, I would consider you wealthy because your standard of living has changed.
But how can that change your standard of living? Because you'd start eroding the principle. So isn't the idea to basically focus on being able to create income-generating activity to create wealth because you want your money to work and be as productive as you are as a human being? In fact, your money should be more productive than you. I'm here on TV, but I've got a company that with a lot of people working to create wealth for me. And I think, isn't that the way that wealth is created? And how's that?
Yes, sir, absolutely. I think with time and compound interest, we can all build wealth, but I think this factor of debt is the thing that we have to really look at and acknowledge. On average, people have 24% of their income going out to consumer debt. So let's say that money's not going out to debt, but now it's going into your 401k or your IRAs. You have an opportunity to build more wealth if you don't have money leaving you out for debt.
Chris, Mitch Rochelle, one of the things that I'm personally passionate about is financial literacy, and I worry that we don't do enough in schools to really talk about what wealth even is and what the basics of savings are. What do you think can be done systematically across the country to make sure that this is something that the next generation really understands?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's very, very vital. I mean, we have a foundations in personal finance class that's out in middle schools and high schools. We've got to give students an understanding of how this stuff works. Because if you don't understand how money works, what happens is you can become, well, a victim to debt and to other things that steal your money. So I think we definitely need to educate our youth, help them understand how it works, but also how they can win by taking some simple steps.
Well, you know, most siblings rarely fight about money, apparently, but when they do fight about money, it's about their parents. According to Ameriprise, only 15% of siblings have conflicts over finances with each other, but a staggering 68% say that the biggest issues involve their parents' money. The top problem cited is how an inheritance is divided. Chris, do these numbers surprise you?
It really does, but it's one of those things where I think people are sitting back waiting on an inheritance to improve their own financial situation, and that's just the wrong path. I mean, who wants to say I'm waiting on mom or dad to pass away so I can get some money? So I think it's really staggering, and it's sad.
Yeah, it's a good point that you make, because you see some real changes coming with the tax reform package that we could get. I wanted to ask you about that. Because, Don, earlier we were talking about what this means for real estate.
Yeah, I think, look, if
they do away with the estate tax, what happens?
If they do away with the estate tax, doesn't that allow people, especially lower income and middle income families, to start preserving wealth? Would that be a good thing in terms of building wealth?
I think it's another opportunity. I think it goes back to really the basics. I mean, we can't complicate this. It's about understanding your income, having a budget, and saving some money. That's the key to building wealth.
Chris, thank you so much. Great insights, as always, from you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chris Hogan.